channel again? Awesome. All right, and we shall begin. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Three Crones and the Woo Woo. How are you all today? Krista, Joanne, what's going on?
I am good.
I'm awesome.
Wonderful. I am so glad to see you ladies today. We had a little bit of a goof up that was all mine yesterday with the time zones. And I was really disappointed because it was like, oh, this show would be perfect for election day. But you know what? I think the universe went, no, it's actually going to be better for the day after, when everybody's in this flux mode. The actual, like final results aren't there yet. And we're in this uncomfortable space of don't know, right? So let's check in before we go any further forward. What is that space occurring like for you, Krista, over in the Netherlands?
Well, for me in the Netherlands, the space is more a case of yes, we have all the anxieties, of course, the Americans, the US is experiencing, and then, of course, the world, because we're right in the middle. Now, granted, oh, no, not that one. Thank you. My lighting director is helping me. Hey, this is real, this is live, and it's filmed in the house. So in any case, I'm really lucky I didn't get to go out today, whereas my husband was surrounded by a lot of international people because of course he works at NATO. And so, yeah, he said it was a nail biter. It's, everyone's on edge and they're kind of waiting and to see like the rest of the world. And one of the cool things I saw on BBC today, one of the newscasters said, this is a great exercise in patience. I'm like, yes, it is.
Very true. Very true. How about you, Joanne? How's it going in New York City?
It seems just really quiet. Everyone just seems to be really, really quiet. Looking at each other, if you walk past somebody in the street, it's just like a gentle nod. Not very much is being said today, and I guess that's it's quite what it needs to be. It's just to be quiet, just to be still and be patient, as Krista said too. It's patience. We're definitely having to practice our patience today, and just see how it all unfolds. But I do want to add, like, I find it quite funny, and I don't believe we planned this at all, and I don't know if the two of you noticed it, but we are in the colors of red, white, and blue.
Oh, yeah,
we are. Good eye. Very cool.
No, I didn't even think about that.
That's awesome.
And we did not plan this.
No, we did not.
No, we did not.
That's
great
phenomenal.
observation.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Well, here in Arizona, we're probably dealing with a little bit more confusion, I guess, than elsewhere right now. And yeah, we're in this we don't know kind of thing. Although Arizona's been called for Biden, that itself is kind of confusing because of the fact that Arizona traditionally has been very red as a state. And so there was also some confusion that I may have perpetuated as well, where in the voting booth that I was at yesterday, we were given Sharpies, and the guy that handed me the Sharpie said, use this pen, like as opposed to don't use any other pen, use this pen. And then this morning, it's like, if you used a Sharpie on your ballot, the machine can't read it and it's invalidated. But we have received word from the Election Commission that the Arizona ballots are offset. So if it bleeds through one side to the other, it's not going to erroneously vote for somebody you didn't intend to vote for on the other side. That seems to be the biggest problem with a Sharpie, is that it will cast an unknowing vote if the other side of the page is lined up underneath, right? So it looks like it's actually gonna be fine anyway. And a lot of the initiatives that we really, I think, well, that I voted for example, the funding for schools and stuff like that have been passed. So we're very, very happy to see that as well, that we're going to reinstate the funding that our kids have been missing for the last however many years since they've been messing around with it. So once again, in this space of unknowing and uncertainty, this is a fertile time, a fertile ground to ask those questions of curiosity and hope. How can it get better? What is the highest outcome possible? Regardless of whether your guy wins or your guy loses, how can we come back together as a country and work side by side for the better of all, as opposed to continuing this divisiveness? So those are some of the questions that I'm asking today. Joanne, what are some of the positively curiosity based, hopeful questions that might be running across your mind today?
I think the question that I would just pose is being in a space of whatever is meant to be for us is serving our most highest good, and if we could be in that space, my favorite expression is what it is my favorite expression. It is what it is. And whatever this is going to be, I do believe it's going to serve us for our most highest good.
Excellent. How about you, Krista?
Well, for me, one of the things that I've been focusing on is just finding that silver lining, right? I keep thinking of your thought and your phrase there, Gayle, and sometimes you have to dive in and pull that damn lining out, right? And I've been thinking about that, and I want you to know. But one of the things that I heard this morning, it was, well, you guys were asleep, or Gayle, you may have just been heading to bed, because remember, I'm 6 hours ahead. Yeah. So I was watching the news early this morning, and one of the things that I overheard, or I heard, and I wasn't like full on focus, but they were talking about the percentage of voters that had gone to the polls and how it was, landmarking numbers, right? We're talking fantastic numbers that have never been seen before across the board. And I know many first-time voters who are, by the way, in their 30s and 40s, and some older, like, yeah, I've never voted before, but this is an election I felt like I needed to vote for. So for me, I'm focusing on those firsts, in those positives, because I feel like that there is a lesson. We've been asking as a nation, we've been asking as a country, we've been asking as individuals for things like, change, and change begins with us. It doesn't begin with anyone else. It begins right here. And so that's what, for me, I'm watching that. I'm observing. Rather than going into a place of needing an answer, I just keep saying, well, what else is possible? Mm-hmm. And how much better can that get? And I just am watching as it unfolds, because I know that when I ask those questions, my husband sometimes will be like, Krista, can you ask a different question, please? And I'm like, no, because sometimes it's better and it's easier than getting locked into a place of judgment or a place of needing to know the answer, because sometimes the answer is not exactly ready to be seen.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. And that actually brings to mind something that I was talking about last week on a face for your life or post for your life reimagined. And that was how when we get to a place where we can accept whatever it is exactly as it is and exactly as it is not, hearkening back to Joanne's, it is what it is, right?
that's it.
But not from a dismissive, I'm not saying you do this. I've seen other people go, oh, it is what is, like I'm gonna judge it, but get it out of my face kind of thing. And that's
Yeah.
not the energy of it is what it is. But
No.
when we can truly accept it how it is and how it's not,
Mhm.
that gives it, whatever it is, the freedom to shift out of where it's at into a different phase, right? And so I'm declaring it is what it is with Joanne, definitely. And we're just going to watch it as it unfolds.
Yeah.
So,
It
along
is.
those lines, though, let's check in with Miss Joanne to see if we've got some help above or some additional challenges.
Good question. Well, the good thing is now, if hypothetically we would have aired just today, we would have actually been in a 9 energy day based on numerology, which is all about letting things go, which is what we're doing today. Is we're letting everything go, the expectations, what we want it to be, what we think it should be. That was yesterday's energy. Today's energy is all about a new way of looking at things, a new way of looking at things, and with that new way of looking at things, also being in a space of recognizing that whatever happens, whatever the outcome is, know that new doors are about to open. No matter what way this goes, new doors are going to open. Now, the fun thing with our planets, Mercury just went direct. Today is the 4th. Mercury went direct yesterday. How amazing it is for Mercury to go direct on the day of Elections Day. Now, anybody who knows anything about our planets going retrograde and going direct, when that happens, it creates a lot of confusion regarding communication and, even more importantly, technology. And I mean, if we look at the bigger picture of what's going on with elections, it's all based on technology. It's about, getting everything to get the numbers in, the systems in, and everything flowing, and then that communication between all the parties involved to get those numbers to present itself. And all this took place yesterday into last night, where here it is, Mercury's direct. We are still in the shadow period of Mercury, though, being starting to flow. So it is still a very sticky, I'm going to use the word sticky time to have those major conversations, which makes sense almost to why we are not hearing the results of the elections right now. Because in theory, based on that energy, we're not going to hear it the way it needs to come out. So I think it actually really makes a lot of sense. So the cosmic world is definitely helping in that aspect. Right. And then, interesting enough, which I was looking it up today, Mars, which is still in retrograde, and Mars is our planet of war and anger and frustration. And it's in Aries energy, which is a fire energy. So it is about like action. I find it really funny, and it tickles my bones to no end that it goes direct on Friday the 13th. And I think it's really, really funny that, wow, Mars is going to go direct on Friday the 13th, where it's like most people would think of Friday the 13th as, oh my God, that's a bad luck day. I happen to love Friday the 13th. It's almost as powerful as the moon's energy. So between all that's going on with the planets, with today's numerology energy, I think it's a win-win. Whatever's going to take place, I believe that it's definitely going to help us form more in a line of calmness and understanding, but also at the pace of going slower with it. And on a lighter note and moving into Krista eventually, when we move into 2021, I want to make a note here that we are moving into a 5 collective energy year. And 5 in numerology is all about change, freedom, and unpredictability. And that's where we are heading. Lots of changes that's going to help us move into with the freedom that we are looking for, but also understanding that there's going to be unpredictability. But unpredictability could be a lot of fun as well. So do not think of unpredictability as something negative. Put a light tone to it, like, wow, something unpredictable can happen where an unexpected friend can show up at your front door, or you get that unexpected client, or you get that unexpected sponsor. So all fun, good things and change are definitely in the horizon.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
No, that
report.
is.
Thank you so much.
That's
Go ahead, Krista.
I was going to say thank you. I've been waiting. It's been and I knew I could have called you up and been like, okay, Joanne, why the heck? But I was like, no, I'm going to wait. I'm going to be good like everyone else.
It's like Christmas, when you have to sit back and wait to unwrap the gifts. It's Christmas. We get an early Christmas. We're unwrapping something that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I know, well, the 3 of us talked about it briefly yesterday. It just feels like that since Mercury did go direct, things are feeling a lot lighter. For us here in our household. I can't speak for everyone, but I'm feeling like it's a lot lighter, but when you just said that things are slowing, like it kind of like clicked, and I was shown this image of this slowness and this very exactness of what is happening with the election, with the counting, with the voting. It's all on purpose.
Yes.
It's not an accident. Nope. And it's very much, I was like, oh wow, that's awesome. It's like, sometimes it would just be awesome if people could be in my head when I get these images and downloads. It just make it so much easier.
Maybe and maybe not.
I don't know. Hollywood would probably just get too excited. All right.
Yeah. Yesterday, when you mentioned on a post that I did on Facebook that we went direct, it was like, yeah, that makes sense. I felt the freeing shift when I woke up in the morning yesterday morning, and it was definitely more okay. Have you? Maybe you can identify with this, Joanne. Have you ever done like exercise with ankle weights on your ankles?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then you take them off and you do the same exercise, but you're like floating off the ground because your feet are so damn light now. It was like that. I was like, I used to, when competitive roller skating, I used to do my, cross pulls and stuff with the weights on, build up the quads and stuff like that. And then you take them off to go do jumps and you're flying like you wouldn't believe. And it was that kind of, oh my gosh, I don't know what had me anchored, but it's gone now. And it just feels so much better. And even today, more of that. So I'm inviting even more of that in as we're doing this. That's some good stuff though that's coming along the pike. I'm very excited to hear about more of it.
Yes.
Now, let me think for a second. Joanne, with this Mars still in retrograde and Mercury's in direct movement now, but still in its shadow phase where it's catching up to where it was, so to speak. What can those two things present to us as kind of a something to deal with or not to worry about or whatever. There's just something about it for me with this Mars retrograde and the anger still being there and the going, the direct motion of Mercury that's still going to have a faint impact on our communication and our ability to deliver on what our intentions are. I don't want to necessarily stick anybody with, oh, we're not out of the woods yet. There's still going to be roaming bands of people going down the street with guns. No, but is there stuff to watch for maybe in our thinking or what we're basing our actions on?
Well, I think theoretically we don't need a retrograde to say there's always stuff to watch for, because we do. We want to be mindful of what it is we are thinking. We also want to be mindful of our actions as well. But when you think about the whole process of Mercury being in the shadow period of moving forward again, and Mars basically a week away from going direct, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Mercury is the only planet that we actually do feel a shadow period with, where all the other planets we don't. And don't ask me why, I don't know. I'd have to get back to you. Again, I want to make a
because
quote
it's an inner planet. None of the other ones really.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, it could be. And I just want to put a quote out there for our viewers, is that I am a student of astrology. So I am learning, and what I learn, I come and teach, because that's how I learn better. So in reference to that question, that answer is, I really think the combination of Mercury in its shadow period and Mars eventually going direct is going to give us the opportunity, and I think Krista said this earlier, where it gives us a chance to sort of slow down and pause, as opposed to reacting to whatever the thoughts are. And not following through so much on action. So if you're feeling the need to explode at somebody based on whatever's going on because it didn't go the way you wanted it to go, perhaps take a pause, take a breath, and revisit that thought maybe a couple of days later. Like, there's this amazing astrologer who I follow, and her process is, anytime you feel like reacting to something, take 3 days to breathe and reevaluate. And if 3 days later you still want to react the way you wanted to react the first day, then go ahead and do so. But 9 times out of 10, after you've taken that 3-day pause of not reacting, you may start to see it differently, and you probably are not going to react the way you would have if you didn't take that pause to begin with. So I think that energy is really allowing us to really slow down and evaluate whatever it is that you might want to spark out at and be aggressive about, and just take that moment to breathe.
That's great advice. Very great advice. Well, Miss Krista, what kind of rocks you got in your box that can help us lift up the way that we think and feel about stuff?
Well, it is I have lots of rocks in my box, but honestly, but I picked out one special, and we kind of touched base, the three of us, about it last week. And I picked amethyst. And this, by the way, some of my crystals have names. This one does. This is called grape jelly. Ooh, and it literally looks like grape jelly.
Yeah.
And I love this amethyst. So, and I got this in Australia. And the energy that amethyst brings is it's what I call your all-purpose crystal, right? Amethyst is one of those ones that if you are stranded on a desert island and you can only have one crystal, amethyst is the one that I would recommend having with you. The reason is it is a master healer. It is great for calming. It is great for connecting. It is great for healing old wounds, and actually it can be those emotional ones, and it can be actually physical ones. I wouldn't use a geode necessarily. However, if you have a tumbly and you have a bruise, or you have a tumbly and a scratch, and the tumbly is a polished rock, if you actually rub that on your skin, you'll find that it actually helps with the healing process.
Nice.
I love stones that you can use as multi-purposes. This is a great stone for right now. A lot of people are, between all the confusion and kerfuffle of COVID and going into a second wave, right? And it doesn't matter where you are, just PS, by the way, here in Europe, yes, we're, dealing with it as well. My son who's in Japan, they're dealing with it there. My friend in Singapore, they're dealing with it there. All around the globe, we're all in this, right? We're in it together. But I find that the amethyst really helps for about, let's see, from February until September. I had 3 tumblies in my water bottle every day of amethyst. And so I'm a huge gemmy water person, and I'll put my crystals in my water. And I drank that water every day religiously. And I did it for a number of reasons. I did it because of the stress that we were under moving, the stress that we are under as a country, the whole uncertainty of everything that was going on. And I found that it really helped calm. And for those of you who are having challenges, and if you have an amethyst accessible to you, either, put it on. If it's a piece of jewelry, wear it. If it's a tumbly rock, carry it. And by the way, ladies, bras are acceptable places to put your crystals. All right? All right. Guys, I'm not going to talk too much about your, jock straps or underwear or anything like that, because I don't know how comfortable that would be. But
is that a rock in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Denim, your denims. I that little
The key pocket. Yeah.
the key pocket. Yeah, that's a great crystal pocket too. I have put a number of crystals in that pocket myself, and my bra. My husband always waits at the end of the night. He's like, "So, I wonder what's going to fall out of your bra tonight when you get in your pajamas," because yeah. But yeah, carry it around. Crystals really have a great vibration. Another way to wear them is your bracelets. And I have a bunch on. I don't have any amethyst right now. I don't have an amethyst bracelet. I'll have to rectify that. But yeah, no, they're great. It's a great crystal, an all-round master healer to have. I find that it has helped with a number of things in our lives personally. And it's one of those ones that I gift a lot to people. It's not an unusual thing that if you come and see me, that you go home with an amethyst.
Nice.
Here you go, have an amethyst.
That's
because
awesome.
It's a great crystal to have.
Amethyst, for me, amethyst has always been one of my favorites, mainly because my oldest daughter is born in February. And that's the February birthstone, right?
It is, yeah.
And it's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And when I started into recovery, well, I don't want to ascribe this to AA or NA or like there's no endorsement implied here. But among the members of the organization, it was often said to me that amethyst is the stone of sobriety, right? And you know the old story about the Greeks, right?
Which one?
Yeah, right. Well, archaeologists found chalices made out of amethyst. And it was believed that as drunken and raucous and rebellious that Greeks are known to be when they party, they would drink their alcohol out of these amethyst chalices and therefore could drink all night long without becoming sloppy, fall down drunk. Because as much as the alcohol densified their vibration, the amethyst made it finer.
Yeah.
And they could find a balance between, like being present and being blitzed all night long. And it's like, that's kind of interesting, I always thought, but that's one of my favorite crystals. And for those of you, especially you, Krista, that don't have an amethyst bracelet, please reach out to everythingjustrocks.com. Tell Athena, the 3 Crones sent you, and Krista wants you to have an amethyst bracelet now. Okay?
Now.
Now.
Now. The second.
Athena's also got a bunch of other classes too, but today we're really encouraging the amethyst bracelets.
Yes. and Krista, is so interesting that the amethyst stone is the master healer, because as we're in November, out of all the months in the entire year, November is the only month that is a master healer month because of the 11 vibration. So it will work really, really well with that amethyst crystal.
Yes, it really does. Yeah. And amethyst, I know that there are some other crystal healers that will say, no, quartz, clear quartz is a master healer, but no, clear quartz, and we'll have a different conversation about it, but clear quartz is an amplifier. So it is the master amplifier, whereas amethyst is the master healer. And it is. It's a great month to have an amethyst. And yes, I love amethyst. I too have a February baby. And so, it is. It's a great, but it's just, please, come on. It's purple.
It's purple. Who doesn't like the color purple?
That's right. Now I will be posting a photo, and actually it is of grape jelly. You'll see a photo of her. And if you can't get in touch with Athena right away, it's okay. You can look at a photo of the amethyst and set your intention to really be there and absorb that energy of the master healer. But definitely I do encourage everyone, every household, there's some things households need, and an amethyst is one. Every house needs an amethyst.
Yes. 100%. I don't know if you guys can all see it very easily, but right at the edge of my frame. Those. Yeah, I can't put that one in my bra. I am like you though, Krista. I used to not pack my bra, but a few select, stones of the day.
Close to the heart.
Yep. And, get that body heat going and, so they're emitting. And there was a couple of times, like you're talking about your husband, I was laughing about, I can't wait to see what falls out. I stopped doing that for a long time after I forgot that I was wearing something, and I took my bra off and it crashed to the ground and broke. And I was so devastated. I was like, I promise I'll never do that to you again. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Now, do you know what they say about when a crystal cracks and breaks?
Yes, but go for it. Tell us.
It's the universe inviting you to share that crystal with others when it breaks in pieces. So that you don't, the one that carries out that crystal doesn't need the whole thing for themselves anymore. It's now time to give it out.
Yeah.
Very nice. And I've also heard that when crystals disappear, they didn't disappear. They went where they wanted to go.
Exactly.
Their job with you is done. It's complete. Exactly. And if you wear like a bracelet and it breaks, its job is done with you. And again, so I have my bracelets, when they break, I put them into a container with sage and lavender. And that goes into all my bags that I put, like I do jemmy bags. And, for example, if I give you an amethyst, right, inside that bag is this mixture of other crystals with the sage and the lavender.
Nice.
Right. And so it's a way that keep sharing it on with the world.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
I want, along those lines, if you don't mind, I'd like to share a little quick story about a crystal that I got that broke. I had a little 2.5, 3-inch spire of fluorite, and it was gorgeous. It went, like through the whole spectrum. The bottom was almost white. It was like so lavender. And there were some fractures through it, and it just got darker and darker up until an indigo tip. And it was natural that way. It was gorgeous. And I was so excited. I bought it on my lunch hour, and I brought it back to work, and I showed it to my coworker. Now, there were 3 women in this office, the office manager, and then this other woman was my equal in status, so to speak. Work-wise anyway. In fact, she was a fairly chaotic, dry drunk.
Oh.
Okay, so she wasn't dealing with the issues that would have her drink. She was just angry about not drinking. But I didn't like think about this. She put her hand out, and she's like, "Can I see it?" And I like, "Oh, okay, no problem." And I put it in her hand. And as soon as her fingers closed up around it, it jumped out of her hand, and the tip of it broke off.
Oh.
And she, give credit where credit was due. She paid to have it like refiled down so that it would have a new tip on it and stuff. But that was the only time that I've ever seen. And I've heard other stories of how this is possible, that when a crystal ends up in the clutches of someone whose energy could disturb it, it can actually break apart like that did, or jump out of their hands. They suddenly get very clumsy, and they're not very clumsy people, kind of thing. So I did not share that crystal with her. I don't think that crystal would have been happy with me if I had. But it's just one of those things that I saw it with my own eyes, and I still have a hard time believing that actually happened. But literally, I saw the tip of that crystal shoot up off of the crystal. And I can only explain it by an overload of chaotic energy coming up from her palm.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting stuff. All right. So let's move into Gayle's witchy words of the day.
Which is yours? That's you.
That would be me. And that's miracles. Today's word is miracles. Now, most people, when I say the word miracles, they immediately begin imagining like crying statues, statues with blood tears, or weeping, types of stone effigies weeping real tears. I mean, you hear these stories, and I'm not here to say that those are not miracles. Okay. Those are definitely miracles, but those are not the end all be all of what miracles are. All right. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of some definitions to work with, because one of the things that I'm finding most of all in the world these days is that we are operating inside of what we think a word means, as opposed to what the word means. Right. So if we look at the dictionary definition of the word miracle, according to Merriam-Webster, it is an extraordinary event manifesting divine intervention in human affairs. So from that definition, you could definitely extrapolate from that means things that could not happen unless God was involved. I maintain life cannot happen without God involved. God's everywhere. So let's kind of rein this in a little bit, okay? Now, if you look at A Course in Miracles, which I had to get out my reference book for that today, all right? I did not find in the Course in Miracles where it actually defines a miracle, but it does speak about miracles in ways that indicate the nature of a miracle. So I picked 3 of those. First, there is no difficulty in the order of miracles, right? You need a miracle. It doesn't matter how big, how, massive it may occur to you. It can happen like that. Or it could be just a teeny tiny little thing, which can also happen like that. So it's not a matter of it being a heavy load for the universe to show up with your big asks. It's not. Okay. Now, point 2 from A Course in Miracles. Miracles occur naturally as an expression of love. Hold that thought for a second as we move into 3. Miracles are thoughts. Specifically, according to the Course in Miracles, thoughts of love as opposed to fear, because there's only 2 base emotions, right? So you can have fear or you can have a miracle. Either way. All right. Now we come down to where Gayle goes, you know what? None of this works for me. I'm going to make up my own damn definition. All right. And here's where I've come to. A miracle is a shift in perception that allows something that once occurred as impossible to become real as a possibility, or become possible in reality. Either way you want to say it. Okay. So the kind of miracle that I'm talking about there, right, is the type of miracle that allows addicts and alcoholics to get clean, to have that compulsion to use whatever it is that they're using to check out with lifted from them. Right. And generally speaking, that miracle occurs out of the action or the shift in perception that inside of an addict or alcoholic's head is I have to use, I have to do this, I have to get drunk, I have to shoot up, there's no other way of living, right? But I'm not an addict, I could quit anytime, right? There's that dichotomy of thinking. But when the addict or the alcoholic can shift into that space of, okay, I'm addicted to this and I've given up my power over that, over my life, given it to this substance, right? When they admit to themselves that they are no longer in control, which is just the unflattering truth, that's the moment when that compulsion is free to be lifted. I'm not saying it's taken away immediately, but that's where it becomes free to be lifted. Because once again, back to what we were talking about at the beginning, right? When you accept something the way that it is and the way that it's not, it gives it space to shift. It is what it is, and it isn't what it isn't, right? So it is what it is. I'm an addict. I don't have any power over myself when I start using. Oh, I don't necessarily have to start using. I can do this instead. I can do that instead. I can talk to somebody. I can, pray. I can journal. I can write, right? But bringing it all back around, right? Defining a miracle like this means that each and every one of us can have miracles on demand, right? Anytime that we are willing to see a different perspective about whatever it is that we're convinced we're right about, and create that space for it to shift into what could be, right? Now, where it goes is immaterial to what we're talking about as a miracle, right?
Mhm.
That moment of perception shifting itself is the miracle. And what comes after is a matter of footwork, right? Because you may get that moment of, oh, I'm an addict. I lose power over myself when I use this, right? You can have that insight, you can have that shift in perception, but if you don't do the footwork or take the actions to build that new reality that's available to you, then nature abhors a vacuum. It will fill with what it's familiar with, right? So, again, back out into the real world with the rest of us, we can have a moment where we have an insight, where we have that miracle, where we go, oh, maybe it is possible after all. But if we just sit on that insight and don't do the footwork to make that change manifest in the real world, the vacuum will collapse in on itself. So what does that mean for right now, for the election, for all of this kind of stuff, right? Right now, we're in that moment where a lot of people are, something is wrong, right? At whatever level. My guy's not winning, something's wrong. Their guy is winning, something's wrong. There's, corruption. What are they doing to our ballots? All of this in uncertainty and indecision, right? And where we're sitting at is my point of view about how this is going is the only correct point of view. If you can choose just to be willing to entertain that the way you see things happening may not be the way they could go, and open up that space for how could it go? What do you really want this world to be? If you're so upset about the division and the divisiveness that you're seeing, then share a post of connection. Don't bitch about your divisiveness, because that's more of the same, right?
Mhm.
And it's not easy to see that. And we certainly don't want other people showing it to us. But that's where there's such amazing power to shift and manifest the life that we really, really want by just shifting the perspective, the
Mhm.
perception, allowing the space, and then taking the footwork, taking the actions to make it grow. So I invite you all, Krista, Joanne, Athena, all of the people that are still watching after my sermon, make a miracle today. The world will thank you for it.
Yeah.
As they say, amen, so it is, namaste, whatever.
Yes.
Hey, rest of them out there.
Hope.
What did you call me?
No, no, no. Yeah, that didn't come out right, did it? No. I was using the Native American amen.
I didn't
Hope.
hear the on it.
Hope.
Oh, goodness gracious sakes
Yeah,
alive.
no. No. I like it is all about perspective. I agree completely. Rather than it'd be really awesome if we stopped asking or stopped saying what was wrong and started just asking the question, what is right?
Yeah.
So when something is, when things are in, and I like the word kerfuffle, like it is right now, when everyone is feeling just at their wits' end, right? Rather than focusing on what is wrong, take that breath. We don't want to wait 3 days to, but I do like that. I am going to, do that 3-day thing. Some might help me. Just So, but no, if we just take 3 breaths or 4 breaths, and in that moment, just ask what is right about what is happening, and just stay open by asking what is right. And to go back to your definition of miracle, you may find that you have that moment, that miracle that occurs, because you'll start to see things from a different facet, you know, from a different perspective, you know, and it can change your whole attitude, your whole, you know, demeanor on any situation, not just what's going on today, but anything. And yeah, it's, you know, I love the whole expression, you can win a lot more battles with honey than you can with vinegar. And so, you know, it's like, come on, folks.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to actually be, or at least for me, it doesn't take a lot more. Actually, it takes a lot less now that I've been doing it so much, to be kind and to be nice and to actually go that extra distance than, you know, to just be rude or aggressive. Or I always love it. People are like, well, I'm just being assertive and I'm just saying what I'm feeling. Yeah, that's fine. They're just nicer ways of doing it.
Yeah. Oh, and trust me, I indulge in that more than I should have, or more than I should, as a leader. And you know, there are days when it's like, if Gayle, you have no spoons, you have absolutely no spoons, and you're flicking poo with one of those little wooden ice cream thingies, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just get the hell away from, you know, wherever this is at, because there becomes a point where it crosses over from, I'm just stating my truth, I'm just telling you how I feel, to it's an adrenaline hit based on aggression. And you got to recognize that for yourself, that there's a certain point where you're belly up to the bar of adrenaline and just taking shot after shot after shot, and it looks like you being right in the face of other people, but you're just on a binge for adrenaline for yourself. And I can only say that because I've been there, I've identified it, and I still trip up with it sometimes. I'm not perfect. But yeah, that's a, oh, I gave that up for Lent.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. All right, ladies, we got just a few more minutes. Do you have any final thoughts that you want to put in place for our audience today? I have something first before I open up to the two of you. I want to thank the 5 of you who have hung in here for this entire show. Thank you very, very much. We appreciate you. And tell your friends. These are 3 crazy ladies. They're funny.
Yes.
Hey, if nothing else, you know, you should at least walk away with a smile on your face, right?
Right.
So
Right.
So
And
true.
and when you start getting riled up by stuff floating through your social media, save this video. Just watch it over again, just again and again. How about you, Joanne? What you got for us as we head off into a new week?
I think the takeaway for everybody is just you again. I've said it again and again and again. Just be patient, take it slow, and remember that you are the creator. And what it is you are focusing your thoughts on will become your reality. So if you truly want your reality to be something beautiful, blissful, and positive, rather than asking what is wrong, focus on what is right. And when you do, you'll see so much more of that right come out. So that's my takeaway.
Nice.
Yep.
I like it.
Yeah.
Krista?
And I'm going to piggyback on just at the moment, remember, and it's not just with the election. We have just so much going on, and everyone has other things, we haven't even begun to touch on other things that can be going on in people's lives. And we're getting ready to go into holiday season. So use your gratitudes. I'm running a gratitude thing on Dimensional Healing with Krista on Facebook. I know that Gayle, you're doing one as well. And it's like, just focus on your gratitudes. There is always something to be thankful for. We all have something to be thankful for. And when you start looking at things from a different perspective, and when you start asking what is right about the situation, whatever the situation may be that you are in, you're going to find that those gratitudes become easier and easier and easier. And when all else fails, surround yourself with amethyst.
Or just find the three of us. That's
Find the three of us. There you go. Every week.
I like that. I like that. Every week.
Every week.
Every week.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, my takeaway for today as well is the thing that I've repeated over and over again as well, that I piggybacked off of Joanne. Yeah, it is what it is, and it's not what it's not. What now? Yeah, what can you do to make it what you would choose for it to be? What can you say or ask that will be an expression of a thought of love as opposed to a thought of fear? How can you shift your perception to make things that seem impossible actually possible? And like you just said, Joanne, you are the creator. You do have the power to direct your own life and manifest your dreams. Don't believe the BS that's being shouted from your Facebook feed, from your social media feed, that you are powerless, that you can't do anything about it, that the whole world is going to hell in a handbasket. They're lying to you. You are more powerful than you know. So I want to take a quick moment to thank our sponsors, Dimensional Healing, Creative Command Coaching and Consulting, Wholistic Fitness New York, and GayleNicholson.com, and also Everything Just Rocks over there with Athena Shakaras. And please tell your friends, you can watch us just about everywhere. We'll be on Strong Island TV. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and on GayleNicholson.com. We distribute out to Twitter and LinkedIn, and we're also all over the Strong Island Radio Network. So tune in live or after live as fits your life. Thank you, ladies, again for joining us today, or joining me today. I absolutely love spending my time with you, and I hope that I give you the same.
You do.
Bye, all.
Bye.
Bye.
Mwah.
Yay, we lived.
We survived.
We survived.
Well, I think that we actually came together really well.
It did. It did. The thing I enjoy watching about any of our videos that we've done and that I've had to rewatch